Big review day. There are going to be 20, yes, 20 questions on this particular topic. Why 20? Because this is super important to know for the rest of your high school career, and I really want you guys to understand this, okay? So let's take a look at problem number 1. First things first. Can I factor something from all three of these terms? Yes. I'm going to factor out the 7. Right? 7 times what is 7x squared? X squared. 7 times what is 63x? 7 times positive 9x is 63x. 7 times what is 140? 7 times positive 20 is 140. Now, I'm not done completely factoring because I need to get this particular part broken down. So I need to do the factor the quadratic trinomial method. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 20 and add to positive 9. First things first, it multiplies to a positive, so it has to be either positive positive or negative negative. But since it adds to a positive, then the combination needs to be positive positive. 1 times 20. 1 times 20 is 20, but 1 plus 20 is 21. That doesn't work. Can I divide by 2? Yeah. Let's try 2 times 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 plus 10 is 12. Can I divide by 3? No, it's going to be a decimal. I believe it's 6 and 2/3, 6.6 repeating. Divide by 4. Yes. So that's going to be 4 times 5. Positive 4 times positive 5. They multiply to make 20, but they add to make 9. We win. So that's our winning combination right there. So what does that mean? I can break this down by pulling out the 7, and I'm going to break this down into x plus 4 times x plus 5. Don't forget about the parentheses. Okay? The secret to Algebra 2 is how to factor. Factor, factor, factor. Okay, I assure you, we'll be factoring for the rest of the school year. Okay, problem number 2, x squared minus 25. Well, this is case number 5. This is what's called the difference of two squares. I have x squared minus, in particular, 5 squared. X squared minus 5 squared can be factored into conjugates. So the conjugates of x squared minus 25 can be x plus 5 times x minus 5, the end. Okay, you do well in this, you do well in Algebra 2. Number 3, x squared plus 14x minus 72. Well, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 72 and add to positive 14. Okay, so I'm going to cover up the right column. I'm going to look at myself and say, two numbers need to multiply to make negative 72. So that means it needs to be one positive, one negative. So what does the add to positive 14 tell me? That means that if it's a positive-negative combination, that in this particular case, the positive number needs to be bigger than the negative number. So let's make a table of weak negatives and strong positives. Negative 1 and positive 72. Negative 1 times 72 is negative 72, but negative 1 plus 72 is 71. Okay, let's try negative 2 and 36. We divide by negative 2, and we get negative 2 times 36. That's going to be negative 72, but they add together to form positive 34. Okay, let's divide by 3. Negative 3 and positive 24. Negative 3 times 24 is negative 72. Negative 3 plus 24 is 21. All right, negative 4. Yeah, 4 goes into 72. Right, I would pull out a calculator, and that's going to be 18. Negative 4 times 18 is negative 72. Negative 4 plus 18 is 14. Checks out. Okay? So, with that being said, I don't need to factor any GCFs out, but the winning combination is negative 4 and positive 18. So that becomes x minus 4 times x plus 18. That's how we do it. Okay? Number 4, what can I do with this problem? Well, in other words, there's a leading coefficient, so that interferes with it being 1x squared. So what I'm going to try to do is factor out the GCF. So 5 times what is 5x squared? Well, that's going to be x squared. 5 times what is negative 70x? You get a calculator. Negative 70 divided by 5 is negative 14. So 5 times negative 14x is negative 70x. All right, and then we get 5 goes into 200. 200 divided by 5 is positive 40. So I'm not quite done yet because I need to factor out this part in particular. I'm just highlighting it in green. So we're trying to figure out two numbers that multiply to positive 40 and add to negative 14. Remember, I'm factoring out the 5, and it's going to factor into two binomials. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to positive 40 and add to negative 14. So I'm going to cover up the right column. I'm going to look at it and go, how do I get two numbers that multiply to make positive 40? Well, it has to be positive positive or negative negative. Well, they add to a negative, so that combination needs to be negative negative. So I'm going to go through the basic, negative 1 and negative 40. Negative 1 times negative 40 is positive 40, but they add negative 1 plus negative 40 into negative 41. That doesn't work. Let me try dividing by negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 20 is positive 40, but negative 2 plus negative 20 is negative 22. Ah, jeez. Okay. Well, can I divide by 3? No, it goes into 39 and 42, but not 40 as a whole number. Let's try negative 4 times negative 10. Negative 4 times negative 10 is positive 40. Negative 4 plus negative 10 is negative 14. Ah, we've got a winner. So the winning combination is negative 4, negative 10. So that becomes x minus 4, x minus 10. You could also write this as 5 times x minus 10 times x minus 4. But believe me, I want to see it completely factored out, including the GCF. Okay, so let's take a look at number 5. So I want to see what can I do in this first step. Okay, so I'm going to factor out the GCF, which is 3 in this case. Right? 3 times what is 3x squared? X squared. Okay. 3 times what is negative 12x? Negative 4x, because negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And what's negative 96 divided by 3? That would be negative 32. So we factor this into 3 times x squared minus 4x minus 32. But now I'm going to try to factor what is this part completely factored. So I need to get creative and figure out the winning combination that multiplies to negative 32 and adds to negative 4. So I look at this table, all right, and now I'm going to cover up the right column. What two numbers multiply to negative 32 and add to negative 4? Well, the combination needs to be some sort of positive negative, because a positive times negative makes a negative. And what does that add to negative 4 tell me? Well, that means that the negative number needs to be stronger than the positive. So I'm going to make a table with weak positives and strong negatives. So 1 and negative 32. 1 times negative 32 is negative 32. 1 plus negative 32 is negative 31. That doesn't work. Let me try dividing by 2. So I go positive 2 and negative 16. Positive 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. Positive 2 plus negative 16 becomes negative 14. So we're not there yet, but we're getting closer to negative 4. Can I divide by 3? No, because it goes into 30 as a whole number. It goes into 33 as a whole number, but 32 divided by 3 would be, what was that, 10 and 2/3, I believe, 10.6 repeating. Let me try dividing by 4. 4 times negative 8. 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. 4 plus negative 8, however, is negative 4. Okay, so now we bring down the factored out 3. Okay, and now the combination is positive 4 and negative 8. So x plus 4, x minus 8. Okay? Okay. Moving on. Number 6, x squared minus 64. How do we factor this? Well, it's the difference of two squares. Remember, there's no middle term, so we have to get creative and use the difference of two squares method. In particular, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 64 is 8. So I could factor this into conjugates. X plus 8, x minus 8. Okay? Now, same thing with number 7. Can I factor 9x squared minus 16? Yeah, don't be afraid of the fact that there's a 9 in front of the x squared. Even though I can't divide the 9 and the 16 with a common factor, I can't factor it out because 9 goes into 9, sure, but 9 doesn't go into 16 a whole number of times, and the only thing I can think of else is 3 or 2 or 4. Either way, but is this the difference of two squares? Yeah. In particular, the square root of 9x squared is 3x. The square root of 16 is 4. So I could break this down into 3x plus 4 times 3x minus 4. Okay? All right. Number 8, 144x squared minus 49. Well, once again, I can't divide anything from 144 and 49, but I do know that these two are perfect squares. In particular, the square root of 144x squared is 12x. The square root of 49 is 7, so I can break this down into 12x plus 7 times 12x minus 7. Okay? Now, number 9. What do you think I need to do for problem number 9? Well, I got to factor out what goes into 2, 32, and 72. So the GCF I can factor out is 2. 2 times what is 2x squared? 2 times what is negative 32x? And 2 times what is negative 72? Okay, so I got to figure out two numbers that multiply to negative 36 and add to negative 16. All right, so the winning combination needs to multiply to negative 36. Well, I'm getting annoyed because it has to be a positive-negative combination, so that's always the tricky one. But what does the add to negative 16 tell me about that positive-negative combination? It has to be a weak positive and a strong negative. So let's start with positive 1, negative 36. 1 times negative 36 is negative 36, but 1 plus negative 36 is negative 35. Well, that didn't work. Can I divide by 2? Yeah, let me give it a shot. 2 times negative 18. 2 times negative 18 is negative 36. 2 plus negative 18 is negative 16. Hey, on the second try, we got it. So we factored out the 2, and the winning combination was positive 2, negative 18, so this becomes x plus 2, x minus 18. Okay, so that factors out. Number 10, can I factor something out from all three of these terms? Well, no. I can't, well, unless you want to divide by 1, but, that doesn't really help. So now I do the factoring the quadratic trinomial method. So I need to figure out what two numbers multiply to positive 36, but add to negative 12. So I cover up the right side and I try to get a clue. Two numbers that multiply to make positive have to be positive, positive, or negative, negative. But since it adds to negative, I'm going to use the negative times negative method. So let's start with the basic. Let's try with negative 1 and negative 36. Well, negative 1 times negative 36 is positive 36, but negative 1 plus negative 36 is negative 37, so that doesn't work, so we have to try other options. In particular, can I divide by 2? Yeah, let's try negative 2, negative 18. Negative 2 times negative 18 is positive 36. Negative 2 plus negative 18 is negative 20. Right. Divide by 3. Negative 3 times negative 12 is positive 36. Negative 3 plus negative 12 is negative 15. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. Can I try dividing by negative 4? Negative 4 times negative 9 is positive 36. Negative 4 plus negative 9 is negative 13. So we're getting closer to negative 12. Can I divide by 5? Nah. Let me try negative 6 times negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. Negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 12. So I think we have a winner. So the winning combination becomes x minus 6 times x minus 6. That's okay with me. I like that way, actually, but I know that California public schools would probably prefer it if you simplify it, if you want to be fancy, and make it x minus 6 quantity squared. So either one I'm totally okay with. Okay? Either of these two will work for me, as long as you pick one. Okay? All right, number 11. Okay, 10x squared plus 100x plus 250. Okay, so what can I do here? I'm going to factor out the GCF of 10. 10 times what is 10x squared? Okay, 10 times what is 100x? Positive 10x. 10 times what is positive 250? So 250 divided by 10 is positive 25. Okay, so now I'm going to try to figure out what two numbers multiply to positive 25 and add to positive 10. Okay, so now I'm going to try to figure this out. So multiply to positive 25. Well, if it multiplies to a positive, it needs to be a positive-positive combination or a negative-negative combination. But if it adds to a positive, then I'm going to go with positive-positive. Let's try 1 and 25. Positive 1 times positive 25 is 25. But positive 1 plus 25 is positive 26. Divide by 2, 3, 4 will give you decimals. So let's try positive 5 times positive 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 plus 5 is positive 10. That's our winning team. So this becomes 10 x plus 5 times x plus 5. And I am totally okay with that. What you can also do is simplify it by making it 10 x plus 5 quantity squared. Let me make that a little bit nicer. Okay, so 10 times x plus 5 quantity squared. I am okay with either one of these two, as long as you pick one. Okay, number 12, x squared minus 20x plus 96. So this one's a little bit different. Well, can I factor anything from all three of these terms? No, so I'm going to go to that table. I'm going to find out two numbers that multiply to positive 96 and add to negative 20. Okay, I don't know that off the top of my head. So, but I know I can narrow down the cases by figuring out if it's positive, positive, or negative, negative. It's negative, negative. So let's start with the basic. Negative 1, negative 96. Those multiply to 96 and add to negative 97. Okay. Let's try negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 49, I believe. No, 48, 48. Yeah, 48, 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1, yeah. 2 times 4 would be 8, carry the 1 would be 9. So 2 times 48, so particular negative 2 times negative 48 is 96, but they add together to form negative 50. Well, can I divide by 3? I believe so. If I do this in my head, 3 times 33 is 99. So 3 times 32, negative 3 times negative 32, would be would be positive 96. So if we add these together, negative 3 plus negative 32, we get negative 35. We're still getting closer. We're going to make it. 96 divided by 4. Well, if 100 divided by 4 is 25, then 100 divided by 4 should be 24. So negative 4, negative 24. Negative 4 times negative 24 is positive 96, but negative 4 plus negative 24 would be negative 28. All right, 5? I don't think so. Let me try negative 6, since it's divisible by 2 and 3. Let me get my phone. 96 divided by 6, even I need a calculator, 16. Negative 6 times negative 16 is positive 96, but they add together to form negative 22. So close. So close. Let me try 96 divided by 7, just in case. 96 divided by 7. 13. And that's not, that's a 13 point decimal. Let me try 96 divided by 8, and that's 12. So negative 8, negative 12. So sometimes you might have to try with a little bit of extra effort just to make sure. Even I didn't know this combination off the top of my head. So hard work is your way to get into Algebra 2. Negative 8 times negative 12 is positive 96, but negative 8 plus negative 12, finally we get negative 20. There's our winner. So if we factor everything out, well, sorry, we didn't have to factor our GCF out. The winning combination was negative 8, negative 12, so that becomes x minus 8, x minus 12, the end. Okay. Number 13, x squared plus 11x minus 80. Can I factor out a GCF? No, so I got to do the creative method of multiplying negative 80, add to positive 11. So two numbers that multiply negative 80 need to be positive, negative. One positive, one negative. But what does that positive 11 tell me? That tells me that the positive number has to be a larger value than the negative. So let's start with negative 1 and positive 80. Negative 1 and 80, that multiplies to make negative 80, but negative 1 plus 80 is positive 79. Negative 2, positive 40. Negative 2 times 40 is negative 80. Negative 2 plus 40 is 38. All right, divide by 3. No, that's a decimal. Negative 4 and positive 20. Negative 4 times positive 20 is negative 80, but negative 4 plus 20 is positive 16. So that didn't work. I know that it ends in a 0, so it's definitely divisible by 5. Okay. 5 goes into 100 20 times. 5 goes into 90 18 times. So 5 goes into 80 16 times. So if 80 divided by 5 is 16. Let's try negative 5 times 16. Negative 5 times 16 is negative 80. Negative 5 plus 16 is positive 11. That's what we want. So now, the winning team is negative 5, positive 16. So I'm going to write this as x minus 5, x plus 16. Okay? 7 more problems to go, and then you should be prepared. Okay? So this one will take a while. There is a big one on the test, but it isn't a matter of I don't get this. It's a matter of putting in the effort. Give a little bit of your effort. So let's do this. Can I factor something from x squared, negative 2x, and negative 224 right off the bat? No. So I'm not looking forward to this. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 224 and add to negative 2. Well, first things first. It has to be a positive-negative combination. The negative number has to be larger than the positive. So let's start. Even though it's not going to work, it gets our brain stimulated to narrow down the suspects. 1 and negative 224. 1 times negative 224 is negative 224, but they add together to make negative 223. Let's try dividing by 2 since it's an even number. So let's do 224 divided by 2 in my phone. That's 112. So let's do 2 times negative 112. They multiply to make negative 224, but they add to negative 110. And the advantage of going systematic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth, is it may take a long time, but it gets you to, you see your progress. You go closer and closer to negative 2. Let me try 224 divided by 3. Decimal. Okay, that didn't work. 224 divided by 4 is 56. So 4 times negative 56. They multiply to negative 224, but they add to form negative 52. 224 divided by 5 won't work because it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. That's a decimal. Let me try divide by 6. Not quite. 224 divided by 7, 32. 7 times negative 32, they multiply to negative 224, but they add to form negative 25, getting closer and closer to negative 2. Let's try 224 divided by 8. I have a feeling that's going to work. 28. 8 times negative 28. They add to negative 200. Let's say they multiply to negative 224, but they add to negative 20. Okay. 224 divided by 9 is a decimal. 224 divided by 10, it doesn't end in a 0, so I know that's a decimal. Let's try 224 divided by 11. It's also a decimal. 224 divided by 12. Decimal, 18.6 repeating. 224 divided by 13. 17, that's a decimal. 17 point blah, 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 sorry. 224 divided by 14 is 16. So let's try 14 and negative 16. 14 times negative 16 is negative 224. 14 plus negative 16 is negative 2. I just made this really, really big table because I looked at this and went, oh, that's going to take forever. So that's the winning team. It takes forever, but you'll make it. You'll make it. So x plus 14, x minus 16. And yes, there will be at least one problem where it may take a while. Okay? The only thing that separates you from getting this in Algebra 2 is effort. Make that table. I didn't like making that table, but it helps. I'd rather make the table than struggle. Okay? In fact, this was a struggle, and it was good for me because I didn't know that off the top of my head. So let's do these just to make sure that we are completely good. So now that you've gotten the hard part out of the way, the rest should be a piece of cake. X squared plus 10x plus 24. Can I factor anything out? No. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 24, add to positive 10. 1 and 24. 1 times 24 is 24. 1 plus 24 is 25. 2 and 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 2 plus 12 is 14. 3 and 8. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 plus 8 is 11. Not quite. 4 and 6. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 plus 6 is 10. The winner. Positive 4, positive 6. So this becomes x plus 4 times x plus 6. Sorry, writing at an angle. But yeah, the winning combination is positive 4, positive 6. All right, two numbers that multiply to positive 48 but add to 14. So it has to be a positive combination. 1 and 48. 1 and 48 multiply to 48. 1 plus 48 is 49. So that didn't work. 2 and 24. 2 times 24 is 48. 2 plus 24 is 26. 3 and 16. 3 times 16 is 48. 3 plus 16 is 19. Okay. 4 and 12. 4 times 12 is 48. 4 plus 12 is 16. Getting closer to 14, though. Dividing by 5 won't work, but it'll be a decimal. But dividing by 6 might. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 plus 8 is 14. There's the winning team. Positive 6, positive 8. So this becomes x plus 6, x plus 8. Okay. Okay, 4 more to go. X squared minus 13x plus 36. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 36 and add to negative 13. So this combination needs to be either positive positive or negative negative. However, the added negative 13 tells me that it has to be negative negative. Negative 1, negative 36. Negative 1 times negative 36 is positive 36. Negative 1 plus negative 36 is negative 37. So we have to add them together, and that doesn't work. Negative 2, negative 18. They multiply to 36, but they add to negative 20. I'm not happy about that. Negative 3, negative 12. Negative 3 times negative 12 is positive 36. Negative 3 plus negative 12 is negative 15. That doesn't work. Negative 4, negative 9. Negative 4 times negative 9 is positive 36. Negative 4 plus negative 9 is negative 13. So the winning team is negative 4, negative 9. So we factor this into x minus 4, x minus 9. Okay. All right, let's take a look at number 18. X squared minus 17x plus 42. Okay. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 42, but add to negative 17. Well, it has to be a positive positive or a negative negative combination. But since it adds to a negative, that combination must be negative negative. Negative 1, negative 42. Negative 1 times negative 42 is positive 42, but they add together to form negative 43. Negative 2, negative 21. Negative 2 times negative 21 is positive 42. Negative 2 plus negative 21 is negative 23. Divide by 3. 42 divided by 3 is 14. Negative 3 times negative 14 is positive 42. Negative 3 plus negative 14 is negative 17. There we go. We win. So the winning team is negative 3, negative 14. That becomes x minus 3, x minus 14. Okay. All right, number 19. X squared plus 3x minus 28. All right, so we are trying to figure out what two numbers multiply to negative 28 and add to 3. Well, I'm going to cover up the right column. Multiply to negative 28 means it has to be a positive negative combination. Adding to positive 3 means it has to be a stronger positive than the negative. So let's get right to it. Negative 1 and positive 28. Negative 1 times positive 28 is negative 28. But negative 1 plus 28 is positive 27. Negative 2 and positive 14. Negative 2 and 14 multiply to make negative 28, but they add together, negative 2 plus 14 to make 12. Negative 3 does not go into 27 a whole number of times. However, negative 4 and positive 7 might work out. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Negative 4 plus 7 is 3. There's our winner. So that becomes x minus 4, x plus 7. Okay, and for the last problem before, let's do x squared minus 5x minus 66. Okay. Two numbers that multiply to negative 66, but add to negative 5. I'm going to cover up the right column and say, how do I multiply to make negative 66 with two numbers? Well, that means it has to be one positive, one negative. But which one is stronger? Bigger negative. The negative number needs to be bigger than the positive. So let's go 1 and negative 66. 1 times negative 66 is negative 66. 1 plus negative 66 is negative 65. Okay? 2 goes into 66 33 times, so 2 times negative 33. 2 and negative 33 multiply to make negative 66. 2 plus negative 33 is negative 31. Well, closer and closer to negative 5 we go. Let's try 3 and negative 22. 3 times negative 22 is negative 66. 3 plus negative 22 is negative 19. Closer and closer we go. 4 goes into 60, then 64, then 68. So 66 divided by 4 would be a decimal. Divide by 5, you will get, it doesn't end in a 0 or 5, so you'll get a decimal. And then finally, 6 will go into negative 66 times negative 11. 6 times negative 11 is negative 66. 6 plus negative 11 is negative 5. We have a winner. So that becomes x plus 6, x minus 11. I wish you the best of luck, and remember, if you do not get the combination in 3 seconds, make that table. The signs matter. If it's positive and positive, please indicate positive and positive in the binomials. If it's negative and negative, please indicate in the binomial that it is negative and negative. If it's one positive, one negative, make sure that the stronger one is appropriate. If it adds to a positive number and it multiplies to a negative, then it has to be a stronger positive and a weaker negative. Okay? And over here, finally, if it multiplies to a negative and it adds to a negative, make sure the negative is in front of the stronger of the two factors, the stronger negative and the weaker positive. Okay, I feel like I covered everything. Good luck. This is not the end of factoring. It's only just begun. Good luck.